What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It is the only sports podcast. That's right, the only sports podcast. That's Casino over there.
Whoop, whoop.
I am Will over here, and as you can see, Casino, this on this Thursday we are going with pink. So
I see that.
it matches my pink shirt, which I sleep.
You got
in,
pink
so-
vibes about you right now.
Yeah, my lips look very pink. But Casino, today we are doing our Thursday show, which means we are doing NFL power rankings. We're going to talk about some the NFL matchups. And I just realized I did not put any of the matchups written down here. So I will be writing them live on the air, as you'll see. So that's good. But Casino, how we doing today?
What's up? I'm doing pretty good. I worked out, got some decent sleep last night. Even with my son waking up, I got some decent sleep. I feel pretty good. Good. I did make my smoothie a little too thick today, which is great. Yeah. It is, actually. I mean, because it still tastes the exact same, but now I'm just got to hold it up.
But we are here today like we are on every Thursday, Casino, and what we first start with is you know what, before we do the power ranking, so we can just go straight NFL, let's go
NFL.
College football week 12. Season is rapidly coming to
it flew by.
It does. Week 12. That's insane that we're already there.
But you know what's great? It's going to fly by even more because, I mean, you have the playoff system now. So just everything seems – it seems like it's just getting closer and closer every second.
Yeah. By the time, basically December 14th, last game of the regular season, which today is November 14th. So we have a month left before playoffs and seeding and bowl games and stuff like that start. But as far as this weekend, Casino, the big matchup is Tennessee, Georgia, which is Saturday night. Or I guess, our time Saturday night. Everybody else will see it probably Saturday. It says 4:30, so it'll be 1:30 East Coast. Or what? No.
7:30 East Coast, bro.
Yeah, there you go. I had it reversed. But in Tennessee, Georgia, Casino, who do you see taking that? Who do you see coming out of the SEC?
I'm going to say Tennessee's going to pull this off on the road. I know it's the Georgia Bulldogs are a really good team. They're at home. My daughter's just dropping things. But I like what I see from the Volunteers over the Bulldogs this season. Like, there's been a lot of Georgia games where I'm like, they're great. And then a couple of Georgia games where I'm like, eh. And for Tennessee, to my memory, it was just they had that one game, and that was it. Besides that, they've been playing pretty solid football.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you. I do think that Georgia will probably pull this out, even though I like Tennessee. And
if they want a shot, they have to win this. If they want even a shot at making the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, we talked on Tuesday's show about how muddled the SEC is together, with all those teams basically beating up on each other. So if Tennessee loses to Georgia and all the teams outside of Texas are now 2 to 3 lost teams, that's where it just becomes insane. If we get Tennessee beating Georgia, and now all of a sudden it's Tennessee, Texas as the only 1 lost teams, then that picture all of a sudden becomes pretty crystal clear for at least who gets in the playoffs. And then when it comes to at-large bids, I really think they should just go by ranking. Like, whatever you finish the ranking as after all, that
would probably make the most sense, but it's not going to happen that way, and you know that.
Yeah, but I mean, I would much rather, if Georgia, especially after this game, if they're a 7-3 Georgia team that's number 15, I'd much rather see undefeated Army or an SMU.
Well, Army will lose a game. It's coming up. They're gonna get their ass blown up by Notre Dame.
Oh, really? You think they're gonna lose? Oh, that's this week. No,
that's next week.
Next week. They're off.
Yes, I think. Oh. I think Notre Dame is going to absolutely obliterate those Black Knights.
Ooh.
I
That's
mean, they haven't really played. I mean, here's the teams Army has played. Yeah, here's the teams that they played. Where's the that's 2003, 23. We don't want that. We want this year. We want this year. Lehigh, Florida Atlantic, Rice, Temple, Tulsa, UAB, East Carolina, Air Force, North Texas.
yeah.
Go blow it out your ass. Yeah, they're gonna get absolutely stomped by Notre Dame.
Why do you hate the Army so much, Casino?
No reason. I mean, I don't hate the Army. I don't hate the Navy. I mean, the Air Force is a little silly, but um, I'm a Marine family. I have multiple Marines in my family, so Marines. Just saying. Now, I have no hate against any of those schools at whatsoever, but the caliber of the teams they're playing, is they're not good. They're not good teams. You know, their two toughest teams that they're going to be playing all season is going to be Notre Dame on November 23rd, and then Navy on December 14th to end it. Like those are their toughest games all season.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other games you want to talk about for college this week, Casino? Kind of
There
a
was
light week.
Yeah, I am excited just for the fun aspect of college football, Mizzou versus South Carolina. I'm cheering for the Gamecocks.
Yeah. I also think Utah, Colorado will be good.
Yeah, Utah, Colorado will be a good one. Any other fun ones that I could see being interesting? Nope, nope, zero. Yeah, not
I always
nothing.
think
Nothing looks fun out of any of these, to be honest.
I mean Utah's 4-5. I always feel like Utah is always
Oh,
much better than their record.
yeah,
Always. But yeah, that was our short college football because we have
bye
so much to
college
get to.
football.
Yeah, adios college football. Next up, Casino. It's power rankings. And I don't know if you know this about me, Casino, but I
Look
love
at that! Look at that
pirates.
baby muscle.
I love pirates, Casino. I don't know if you know this about me.
I
I love
do.
all things
I
pirates.
actually do know that you love pirates. I mean, we like some of the same shows that are very pirate forward.
So this week's power rankings are
Ooh.
pirate themed as we talk about the only sports podcast power rankings.
Sadly,
So
the Bucks are not in it.
yeah, the Bucks are on neither of our power rankings right here.
I
Uh,
took a guess in the dark. They're not on yours.
no, they are not, sadly. But who is on yours? And you actually did remember to put 10 this
Put
time.
10, yeah.
So I am
I
proud of
remembered
you.
the Vikings this time. The
Yeah.
Vikings were remembered.
So your number, but you didn't remember the Titans.
Dang it. I was literally thinking that joke as I was taking my sip. Damn it.
Your number 10 team, however, is not a Titan or a Buck. It is a bird, and that bird is the Arizona Cardinals.
They are scrappy, man. There's a lot of those teams right there at that like 6-win mark. And out of all those teams, I like the Cardinals. I think they're scrappy. Um, yes, this is gonna shock you as we're gonna go through this. Um, I do not have the Packers
I don't either.
on the top
Spoiler
10.
alert. Yeah.
And I don't have them on that. I mean, they were right there with the Cardinals, but I like how the Cardinals are playing. I like what Kyler Murray's doing. And I mean, their running back, why am I blanking? Oh,
James
oh,
Conner.
James Conner. He looks phenomenal, and nobody's talking about him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like this team. This team's doing good. They hit the 10 mark.
Yeah. Next up, Casino, your number 9 pick is, if I can get to it, is, also the theme of this for everybody listening, or we are on a treasure hunt right now, Casino. So this is the map telling us where the treasure
You're getting
leads.
good at this.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Please, but your number 9 team, the Los Angeles Chargers.
I think they got something special there with Harbaugh and Herbert. They're finally getting some things clicking on offense, and I enjoy watching them. And I think they are sneaky good. I'm going to use the
Ooh,
word
our first
sneaky.
sneaky. Yeah,
Yeah,
buddy.
it's a double sneaky.
Double sneak. Uh, Your number 8 team, Casino, as we still go looking for the treasure, is the Washington Commanders, which shocks me that they're this low on your list.
They dropped a bit. Yes, you got to be able to win those games tight. Yes, I think that Ertz had that first down. But I am just a little bit more impressed with a few other teams right now. They're not out of my top 10. I still have them winning. I have them winning that division, but it's going to be close now. But they're doing really good.
Your number 7 team, Casino, is, I should really have this pulled up, but I don't. The Minnesota Vikings, a team you forgot to put on your last list.
Good teams win close games, and that's what they did. And they won a close game with having kind of a stinker on the field. You know, when you throw 3 goal line interceptions, you don't win that game. 95% of the time, you don't win that game. They were able to figure a way out to win that game. They're looking good. They did get the tight end back. Why am I blanking on his name?
Hawkinson,
TJ Hawkinson. So they got him back. That's going to make them a little bit more dangerous moving forward. So good teams win close games, and you win ugly games. So that's where they're sitting.
Your next team, Casino, number what? This is your number 6 team, is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh man, do they just have grit? They just have a good fight in them, man. This team is I picked obviously the Washington Commanders to be good this season, like most people did not. I had Jaden Daniels being good, I had the team being good, but I was wrong about the Steelers. I said the Steelers were going to be close to a 500 team, but I figured that they would miss the 500 spot by 1 game. I think they were going to be on the other half of that.
Yes.
So still winning games, but I didn't expect them to be as dominant as they are right now. They are definitely surging at the right time. Sneaky good team going into the playoffs. And I think they'll make the playoffs, and I think they'll turn some heads.
Also, another sneaky drop. Why are you stealing my?
I don't know.
That would actually, in our TikTok video, you asked me what my catchphrase would be. Probably sneaky. Probably me saying sneaky. But next up, Casino.
See, it's tough to think about on the spot.
That is true. Your number 5, the Baltimore Ravens, dropping significantly from last week.
Oh yeah. Their defense scares the living hell out of me. Their secondary scares the living hell out of me. I mean, Joe Burrow just dominated them over the top. Just absolutely dominated. And they barely won that game. And honestly, they probably should have lost that game because there was some blatant face masks penalties that should have been called against the Ravens on Joe Burrow. Like there was two for sure. I think maybe even 3 on that last drive, just smoking, like not like hitting his helmet or anything. Like it's pulling his face mask down with like that. The fact that they missed all of that blew my mind. So they've dropped. Yes, they won still, but man, that secondary is weak sauce. They got to pick it up.
Yeah, I would agree that game had a lot of very egregious, like, especially where it's a league that protects quarterbacks, and it's like you're not going to protect potentially the 2nd or 3rd best quarterback in the league. Like that was egregious. Your number 4 pick, Casino, is my boys, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Fly Eagles fly. They hit their stride, and they're doing it. They're reversing what they did last year. They are looking outstanding right now. Jalen Hurts looks like an MVP in my book with what he's doing right now. Saquon Barkley finally, it looks like him and the offense have figured things out together, and that's really opened up his playbook. Not just give me the ball, I'm going to run. Like they're actually got really good developed plays with him. I mean, hell, he's athletic as hell. Reverse jump over, like whatever. Come on, man, this guy's great.
Reverse hurdle.
Thank you.
Your number 3 pick, Casino, is the Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills have moved up substantially over the last 3 weeks. They look great, and as I said last podcast, Look out, Chiefs, because I do think the Bills will take the number one seed. If Buffalo, and I think that they will, if Buffalo beats the Chiefs this weekend, I think the Buffalo will win will win the number one seed overall.
Ooh, that is quite a take. But now, Casino, we're going to switch over from Casino's power rankings to my power rankings, leaving
We
you in suspense for what number 2 and number 1 is. So now, Casino, we move over to mine. And as you can see, we've got the map. Well, now we've set sail. So we
so
are.
down. That's a good
uh,
image. That's
yeah.
clean.
Yeah, it is. But we are setting sail for my power rankings, Casino. My number 10 pick, I agree with you. I think it's the Arizona Cardinals. I do, however, not understand how they have a defensive head coach and yet their team defense is, or their just defense in general, is bottom half of the league because the head coach was not a good defensive coordinator
Well,
when he
here's the
got.
thing: you can have a good coordinator, a good coach for a specific position. You still have to have the players.
Yeah, but they had the Eagles where 2 years ago his defense was like 30th in the league, and now all of a sudden they're a top 5 defense with basically the same players. And now the Cardinals are 21st basically across the board in terms of total defense. So, how their head coach is a defensive coordinator and they have bad defense, I don't understand. But what they do have is good offense. Like Kyler Murray, you said it, James Conner. I really like Marvin Harrison Jr. as well. And then that tight end, the McBride guy, just came out of nowhere. He didn't come out of Eastbound and Down Casino. That's a different guy. But this guy,
Great,
just
great, great show.
that is a great show. But yeah, so Arizona Cardinals, very feisty. I wouldn't even say sneaky, I'd say feisty. And I feel like they're in every game. A team you actually left off your top 10, Casino. I am picking the Atlanta Falcons to be my number 9 team. I still think
Too
this.
hot, too cold. Too hot, too cold.
Yeah. And again, much like the Cardinals, I don't trust their defense at all because they're actually worse than the Cardinals defensively, but offensively, I still like their playmakers better than the Cardinals. So if these two teams played in like a wild card matchup, I would pick the Falcons, but I wouldn't be confident in this pick. I think if these two played right now, it'd be a tight match. But yeah, I like the Falcons. I like Kirk Cousins now becoming primetime Kirk Cousins, and he's actually looked pretty good on this team. When Bijan Robinson and what is it? Kyle Pitts actually play. They are some of the best in the league. Just again, what you said, hot and cold, very inconsistent. Speaking of inconsistent, my number 8 team, the Minnesota Vikings, Casino. Because when we talk about the Minnesota Vikings, the thing we keep saying about them is they started off really hot, and then their past couple weeks have just been kind of like, is the bloom off the rose? Is Sam Darnold still the Sam Darnold we saw in the first month of the season where he was legitimately an MVP candidate? Now it's kind of just like, I mean, he's struggling. He's thrown 3 red zone interceptions against the Jaguars. Now he plays the Titans this week, like a 2-7 team. If he has another rough game, will everybody all of a sudden jump off the Vikings bandwagon? We don't know. But next up, my number 17 Casino is the Los Angeles
You
Chargers.
moving there? You pushing them up? You like
Yeah,
them? You like them? Like them?
I do
Daddy
like them.
likes.
And what I do like is when you watch this team play, they have as impressive a defense as anybody in the league. Their defense is lights out. I mean, what is it? In that Chiefs game, the Chiefs came back on them, but for most of that game, almost until the fourth quarter, they kept the entire Chiefs offense basically in check. When these Chargers defense is on the field, I think you could make the argument that they have the best defense in the league. And then offensively, I mean, they're 26 in the league in offense, but that's because they just kind of grind you out and kind of grind you down and control the clock and don't really try to do any fireworks offensively. But again, Justin Herbert sneaky having one of the best seasons
Man,
of his
I'm in
career.
suspense right now. Like, is the Steelers or the Commanders not making the cut?
Well, we're about to see. But 66% completion percentage, 1,900 yards, 11 touchdowns, one interception for Herbert. And then I like Gus Edwards and Josh Dobbins. So I don't know if I trust the Los Angeles Chargers receiving weapons, but their quarterback and running back, I mean, who do you not trust? Next up, so let's see, that's 10, 9, 8, 7. My number 6 team casino is the Washington
So
Commanders.
you do not have the Steelers on your list.
I mean, we'll see. But the Washington Commanders casino, what is it? They are my number. What did I just say?
I
Five?
don't know. Do a
Yeah,
reverse count there.
10, 9, 8, 7. So they're my number 6 team. And I'm just now realizing what team I left off my list casino.
So
Ooh,
you
this
pulled you did what I did last week.
I pulled a U. But you know what? I'll just say they're tied. So my number my my number 6 team. These are all correct. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 is correct. But I think the Washington Commanders. Now the thing we do need to do at the Washington Commanders is pump the brakes. Okay, they're a very good team. I'm not saying that. Their record is outstanding. Their quarterback is playing well. Okay, but we need to stop. I'm literally seeing discussions happen on sports shows where they're like, I mean, the Eagles haven't played anybody like Jaden Daniels all season, and he's gonna, and
Okay,
it's
well
just like
that's
you
different.
they played Joe Burrow and gave him his worst quarterback rating of the year. The guy who has thrown 5 touchdown passes in multiple games this season. So let's pump the brakes. Joe Burrow is a much better quarterback than Jane Daniels is right now. But as far as the Commanders go, I like their offense. I don't love it outside of McLaurin. I don't know who they have on offense, but defensively is where I think is going to be the real issue because you can pass on this team, much like the Baltimore Ravens with them, but their offense is dynamic. I really think Dan Quinn, as their head coach, it kind of has that same Dan Campbell feel where the team feels like they're playing for him and they're tough because he's tough. So yeah, I like everything you see there. Number 5 casino. I like everything you say. I'm just saying pump the brakes a little. A little. Next up, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers
Or
casino.
are they the team that you're actually putting together or no?
No, I'm still going a little bit further. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, we say this every week. You and I were wrong when we said putting in Russell Wilson was a mistake because it looks like not only was that not a mistake, it was actually the right move at the right
Well,
time.
it wasn't just us. It was literally every single person on any sort of sports show out there said the
Yeah,
same thing. So you got to tip your hats off to Coughlin because he knew something. Or
yeah,
uh, why
Tomlin.
thank you, Tomlin, Mike Tomlin.
Yeah,
You got to tip your hats off to him because he knew, and that's what makes you a good coach. That's what makes you a coach that has never had a losing season. Is you can make decisions like that, where everybody's against it. And he was like, no, this is what's going to happen and we're going to win. And boom, like outstanding,
yeah.
outstanding coaching. Like, oh, he's such a good coach, dude.
But now, see, though, the interesting thing about the Steelers, shockingly, Casino, I was about to say, when it comes to the Steelers, can you guess the only 2 losses they have on the season? They're 7-2 right now. Can you guess the 2 teams they lost to?
No, I honestly couldn't even think about it.
They lost in week 4 and 5 to the Colts and the Cowboys, which seems just that's crazy for that to be their 2
Two
losses on the
losses.
season. When the teams they beat have been the Falcons, the Broncos, the Chargers, the Jets, the Commanders. So they've beaten
You throw the
all the
Jets out of there. That's a good 4 group 4.
Yeah, every team they've beaten has either been a bottom tier team or a playoff team, and they've basically killed all the bottom tier teams. So, yeah, weird. Steelers having a weird season, but it looks like it's right on track right now. And again, those are the only two games they lost. So they're 7-2 with a schedule that gets a little dicey in week 15, 16, 17, but I'm still interested. Next up, Casino. My number, what is it? Three, or my number four team is where I would put the other team. I would put these two teams neck and neck. The team I left off is the Baltimore Ravens. I forgot to put them on my countdown. So yeah, so I would put both the Ravens and the Eagles at my number four spot. Ravens, obviously, because the defense, we've gone ad nauseum about that. And then the Eagles, the last month of the season, I believe, they are almost number one in every defensive category. Now, again, you can say, oh, it's who they're playing and all that kind of stuff. But also, you only play who's on the schedule. And again, Joe Burrow against every team in the league is throwing 4 or 5 touchdown passes. When he played the Eagles with a fully healthy offense, he had his lowest completion percentage, quarterback rating, yards, pretty much everything across the board. And they lost that game by 20 points. So
Oof.
again, yeah, I think the Giants game was really the Cleveland Browns game after the bye. That was where it was like, oh my God, is this team just bad? Like what is happening? And then since then, they've blown out the Giants 28-3. They've blown out the Bengals 37-13. They technically didn't blow out the Jaguars, but again, you watch that game, the fumble was the bullshit in that game. And then they blew out the Cowboys, and now they have the Commanders tonight. So this is the hard stretch of their schedule, week 11 through about week 16.
So
So
let me
the
ask you: do you think if either one of these teams win tonight, do either of them fall out of your top 10?
No,
Same.
I think the only thing that would change is if Commanders get like absolutely blown out, which obviously I don't think they will. But I think then we have to seriously have a discussion about like, will the Commanders defense be as detrimental as the Ravens defense is to it, but their offense isn't as dynamic to make up for it, if
Right.
that makes sense.
Right. I
But
mean, but still a positive season for Washington in general. Like you didn't expect this.
yeah,
Jaden Daniels is a good quarterback. Now you can build. But
I
Washington did it. Washington did it so right. Is they cleaned house. They
yeah,
got from owner, general manager, all the way down to coach to quarterback. They switched it all.
yeah,
So
and it worked. And it all
and it
worked.
worked. It really worked.
Yeah. I really think the difference tonight is if Commanders or Eagles, if one of the teams beats the other one, the swing will probably be around like 10 points, let's say. If this is a 10-point game for either team, I honestly think they would just switch places. Or if Commanders win, they'd be where Eagles are. If Eagles win, they'd probably move up to third probably on my power rankings list, unless they, again, if the Eagles blow out the Commanders, then I think you have to start having real discussions about them being potentially the best team in the league. But we move on, and again, Ravens were also supposed to be right here, tied for number four. Their defense does worry me. It always worries me, and every week it kind of gives you reason to be worried for it, because again, they're giving
Definitely.
up just Joe Burrow alone this year has thrown 10 touchdowns against the Ravens, and they've only played twice. So that's crazy.
That's
Uh,
incredible.
yeah. Next up, my number three team, Casino. I am putting the Buffalo Bills, same spot you have them. This does, again, at the beginning of the season, I was like, this is the last year for the
Don't do
Bills
it.
until the window's closed. They're eight
Don't
and two.
don't do it.
Much better. We'll
Are you
get
gonna
to
finish that
our
for me? Don't do it.
don't give you hope.
Don't give me hope.
But yeah, Bills are 8-2. And what's also really impressive about the Bills is they're on a 5-game win streak, and Josh Allen necessarily hasn't played that well in those 5 games. But they're still, I mean, annihilating other teams, blowing
Good
out other
teams find
teams.
ways to win.
They finally feel like they have a running game. And yeah, it's just now, again, the only thing that scares me about Buffalo is the only two times they've lost this season have been to really the only two good teams they've played. So they lost to the Ravens and Texans back to back. The rest of their schedule, I mean, again, they almost lost to the Cardinals week one. That's the only other team, the only other quote unquote good team they've played. So now it's nut up or shut up
Yeah,
time
like I
because
said last week, they've got the hardest they've got a hard remaining schedule left, and now let's see if they can handle it.
yeah, they go Kansas City, 49ers, Rams, Lions, back to back to back to back. So that's really much like the Eagles next 5 weeks. The next month is where we see how legit the Bills and Eagles really are. But now, Casino, we switch back to your number, or no, we still go, yes, to your number two team, which we've hit land, Casino. We've hit
That
land
we
on where
have.
we're going. And your number two team, this isn't even going out on a limb because I did it last week. So you're kind of just copying me when saying the Chiefs aren't the best team, the Lions are, but make the case.
Make the case. Outside of a Denver player falling over, like, come on, this team should not be undefeated. This team should not be undefeated. The non pass interference call against the Falcons, like, I could go on and on about this team. An inch in the first game with
And
the
you know how
Ravens. Like,
important an inch is. You
I
know how
do.
important,
It's
yeah.
like this team can barely hold on, and I just don't think that it's going to last. I know they have a great defense, but defense tires out as you go later into the season. You need to also it needs to be balanced to where your offense can stay on the field, to give your defense a break. And I don't trust Patrick Mahomes going down the stretch.
Ooh. Yeah. And well, this week, and again, we'll see with the Chiefs and the Bills game. If Chiefs lose that game, then I think the real questions come in about like how legit are they and will they repeat and blah 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 blah
Well,
blah.
no, they are a good team, and do they have a legitimate shot of repeating? Oh yeah, but I mean, you have these other four teams, as you put it in your bubble last week, that there's four teams that have a legitimate shot on winning the Super Bowl this year, and
They're
those
one of
other,
them. Yeah.
yeah, they're one of them, and those other three teams though, they seem to have the edge on KC if they went head to head, and we're going to see one of them this weekend.
Yeah. So my number two, much like Casino, I am sticking with the Chiefs being number two. We're looking for the treasure, Casino. But it's not the Chiefs at the moment. At least in the AFC, it's the treasure. But in the NFC, obviously, if we both have the Chiefs at two, the number one, the treasure on top of the mountain, it's the Detroit Lions. We found the treasure, Casino. We found it, and it's the Lions. The Lions are the best team right now.
That's a lot of pieces of eight.
uh, as Casino has said, good teams find ways to win. And there is no better example of that than your quarterback throwing 5 interceptions in a game and still winning, which again is as impressive as it is stupid. Like that's just dumb. But Lions right now, 15th in the league in total defense, 13th in the league in total offense, 18th in the
And
league in
and they
pass.
did, and it's not only did they didn't do that against a mediocre team. They did that against
The
or a
tech,
bad team. They did it against the Texans, who have a good season, uh, on the road, like in Texas. They did
yeah.
that. Like, that is insane.
On Sunday night, it's prime time. Like all eyes are on you. Yeah. So not only where they did it, but how they did it. And then this team again, uh, they're going to get 3 cupcakes in a row the next 3 weeks. It's Jags, Colts, Bears, who I think 2 of those are at home. So I think all 3 of those should be blowout wins, kind of get back on track to just being the dominant team you have been all season. And then you end the season with Packers, Bills, Bears, Niners, Vikings. So most of these teams, again, they're just going to have a month of the next 2 months of the season. They are going to have 1 month where it's like, prove to us that you're as good as we think you are.
Yeah, and you know what though? That is going to prime them for the postseason.
Yeah. Well, especially with how close the standings are with the Packers and Vikings. Like, they play the Packers and Vikings again. So all those games are going to matter for it's going to be literally the difference between a fourth seed and your number one home first round bye, everything like that. So at the moment, Casino and I both agree on our top three, which is Lions 1, Chiefs 2, Bills 3. But if Bills, let's say in Fantasyland Casino, the Bills come out and just annihilate the Chiefs and blow them out by 3 touchdowns. I think at that point, you would have to really have a conversation of, are the Bills the best team in the league? Will that
No,
happen?
I would no. They would be behind the Lions still. The Lions don't lose. I mean, they have one loss on them. No, it would the Lions are the best team in the league until they lose to one of those good teams.
Yeah, and the only loss they have was against a good team, which was the Buccaneers when they were red hot. So,
When Baker Mayfield had both of his weapons,
yeah.
had all three of his weapons.
And so this has been the Only Sports Podcast Power Rankings, uh, Pirate Edition. I'll try to think of themes to do this. You know how I love my themes, Casino.
Yeah. And speaking
Um,
of pirate stuff, though, you said it. You're into pirate stuff. I'm into pirate stuff. Great shows that people should watch. If you've never
Black
seen
Sails.
Black Sails, it's honestly probably one of the best shows I've seen in the last 20 years. It's only 4 seasons. Outstanding. You should watch it. I'm not getting
Yeah.
paid to say this. It's great. And then something on the little funnier side, sadly, it only got 2 seasons, is My Flag Means Death. You should watch that.
Oh, I never watched that. I'm gonna check that
What?
out. I never
Oh,
saw it.
dude. I It's so sad that it got canceled. And it's basically it's one of those things where it's just the dispute between the network and them. That's it. But the show
Ugh.
was fantastic. I mean, yeah, yeah. Taika Waititi is phenomenal in it. The Gentleman Pirate. It's a hysterical show. You should watch it.
I'll check it out. Yeah. But next up, Casino, we move to, for some reason, our most popular TikTok segment, which is where we just talk about our picks. So if you weren't here on Tuesday, uh there was a dispute,
And
and
we'll
this
we'll have to be a little quick on this. We got about 20 minutes.
Oh shit. All right. But yeah, so our picks for week 10, I had 13 correct picks. Casino had 9, bringing I think that might be the best 2-week total maybe of my life, where I went 12 and then 13 back-to-back weeks. So Casino went 9, which means we are both right now tied at 93 going into this week. So we are tied at 93 going into week 11. And let's start week 11, as we always do, with our mid marquee and miserable matchups, Casino. And if I can just find the mid, oop, it is, oh no, I got rid of it. Dang it. I thought I saved the one I used last week because I was going to use it on this week. Oh, never mind. Here it is. Our marquee, mid, and miserable picks. There's a guy writing over there. There's a woman, looks like she's on the phone.
Oh, I never even noticed those.
Yeah, there's a
A
guy.
guy putting a baby down?
I don't know what that one in the middle is, but that's weird.
It literally like he walked by with a baby in his hands. That was creepy.
So let's start with our first marquee matchups. And I did, while you were doing your power rankings, I did type these out and put them in the correct order. So here's our first marquee matchup. I mean, it's obvious. Thursday night football, Commanders at Eagles. Who you got in this one, Casino?
Man, I'm gonna have to go with the Eagles on this one. They're the team I think is a little bit more red hot, and they're playing at home, which is a big boost, especially for a team like Philly. Where I mean, it could go south for that team really fast though, because those fans, as I, you're my one of my closest friends that I will not say best friend because you aren't my best friend. You know who my best friend is.
How dare you?
I
But
know.
go on.
But anyway, it's a great I've had that talk with him for forever. Anyway, uh yeah, I'm gonna call the Eagles on this one, but it's gonna be close. I think Jaden Daniels still has a good game. Um, but I'll take the Eagles with this being
Yeah.
at home.
I'm right there with you. I think home field matters only pretty much in divisional games, or it's been dispelled over the years, especially in Vegas, where
Am
it's
I gonna
like,
be would I be shocked if the Commanders came out and won it? No, I
yeah,
would.
I wouldn't be either. I think this is going to be a close game. Way I think the Eagles win this game is, if you look, the Commanders are fifth in the league in passing defense. However, they are 28th in the league against the run.
And then Saquon,
So Saquon Barkley, minimum to win this game, I think has to have over 120 yards. And they just pound the rock. They hand the ball off to him 25
like a
times.
rock.
Yeah, get Gainwell involved, do quarterback draws, do everything but try to pass against this great Commanders pass defense. But again, Eagles are fifth against the run and currently third against the pass. So I think this is the game where Jaden Daniels gets smacked around. I think he's going to be under pressure the entire game. When you get those old, great defensive coordinators like a Vic Fangio, I really do think if you're a rookie quarterback, you don't want to play those guys. Like the
No.
old guys who have been around the league for a decade plus and just know how to rattle you. So I think
You
that's
wanna know
the
what's
game
sad?
changer.
I say that I got a lot of sleep last night, but I'm looking at myself on the screen right here, and I look like a wreck.
No. Also, our cameras are too close, but we record on our computers, so I don't know how to make it go further away. But so just
Oh
enjoy
no,
our
I lost
close
my
up
light.
faces. Now Casino's even getting closer. But yeah, so on this one, we're both picking the Eagles. I think home field will have a lot to do with it. I think it'll be hopefully a running attack where the Eagles just run the ball down the Commander's throat. Next up, Casino, our next marquee matchup. We were just talking about both of them in our power rankings. Ravens at Steelers, which is a great Sunday morning game that I'm sure the majority of people will be watching.
Oh, yeah.
7-3 Ravens, 7-2 Steelers. Who you got on this one?
Uh, I'm gonna go the Ravens because they need to continue traction, and yes, I know that Russell Wilson's throwing the ball so much better. Oh, man, now I just can't even get the camera. It's all fuzzy now. I know Russell Wilson's throwing the ball really well, and that secondary for the Ravens, but is not that great. But I'm gonna pick the Ravens here. I just think Lamar Jackson having 24 touchdowns and 2 interceptions is just too good for the Steelers to handle. And Derrick Henry, I think, is going to just pound the ball for the Steelers. They're going to play possession. They're going to keep the ball out of Russ's hands. I'm calling the Ravens on this one.
Yeah, I
It's
think
going to be it's going to be insanely tough. I mean, because you're going against the best fan base in the NFL, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I have no problem saying that fan base, they travel, they are the best fan base loyal to their team. So
yeah, I would tend to agree. And again, like we've said multiple times on here, they're everywhere. You go anywhere in the United States, maybe anywhere in the world, you'll see a Steelers jersey. It's like automatic. They
yeah,
legitimately, I think, are America's team. I see more Steelers jerseys no matter where I am than any other team's jerseys. And again, we live in Vegas, so we have a team. I see more Steelers jerseys than I do Raiders jerseys in
yeah,
Vegas, just on a daily basis. But I do think that I do think this game, uh, the Steelers will lose it because they literally just played basically a worser NFC companion to the Commanders, or to the Ravens, which is the Commander. The Commanders are basically diet Baltimore, right? Like
yeah.
they do
That's a
basically the
good,
same
great.
thing. and then the Steelers beat that team, but again, they beat them by 1 point. There was controversy on the call with the 1 yard line. Did he get a first down? Blah, blah, blah. So I think when it comes to this game, I think the Steelers win. And again, Steelers fourth in the league in
You think
rush.
the Steelers win?
Or no, I'm sorry, the Ravens win because Steelers, they're great at stopping the pass or great at stopping the run, but you can pass against them. They're 19th in the league in passing. So this feels like a field day for Lamar Jackson running or passing the ball, and Derrick Henry just gets nothing going. So we're both 2 for 2 right now. Next up, I put this as a marquee matchup because of the implications this game has for both these teams' playoff chances, which
Oh, agreed.
is
Definitely.
the 6-4 Falcons at the 5-5 Broncos. Both these teams, the Falcons need to win this game to keep pace against the Buccaneers. And then the Broncos need to win this game basically to keep pace with all the other teams vying for those last 2 wildcard spots. So very important for both the NFC and AFC. I would even say playoff seeding. Who you got in this one, Casino? It
I've
is
been going.
Cousins versus Knicks.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth on this one because Bo Nix has definitely started to show what he can do as the season's gone on, and I like him at home. Oh man, this is a good team. Uh, I'm going to pick the Broncos solely on the fact that this seems like if they want to go to the postseason, they have to win this game. The Falcons still, that division is trash. All they have to do is just beat the Bucks, and they can do that with a shitty record. They can honestly do that with winning only 2 more games. So I don't think it's do or die for the Falcons. I think it's do or die for the Broncos, and they know that. So I'm gonna pick the Broncos on this one, just solely on the fact that I think that this is do or die for the Broncos from here on out. If they want to they have to rattle off 3 wins to be okay to lose one.
Yeah, I thought this would be the one of the marquee matchups where we differed on because I was also going to pick the Broncos just based on basically what you said. Also, we can't discount how that game in Kansas City ended last week and coming off the emotions of that game, having something to prove. There are probably a bunch of players on that team pissed off and being like, the next time we get on the field, I'm killing somebody. Right. So then
Mhm.
and the Falcons
I'm gonna
again,
fall forward, not backwards.
yeah. And the Falcons again, they just lost to the Saints. So could we see was that the beginning of a spiral potentially for the Falcons and then the Broncos? I think both these teams need to rebound and like you said, Falcons can lose probably one more. Broncos can't lose any. So I'm also picking the Broncos. Also, I really like the Broncos defense and Knicks has been playing pretty great. Next up, divisional game, which has a lot of playoff implications. That's why it's a marquee matchup. And it is
Again, it's another very important playoff game, essentially.
Seahawks at 49ers. This is also must win for both of these teams.
Yeah. It is, but I think the Niners getting McCaffrey back definitely makes that team more dangerous. Now that he's got a game under his belt, I know the Seahawks are good. They can be good any Sunday, right? With Geno just flinging the ball the way he's flinging. But this is going to be in San Fran. I know the Seahawks play the Niners well. These in-division games are always, always fun. But I just can't see the Seahawks getting it done against the Niners when the Niners want to win this division. And, this is going to be one of the closest division races we have going into the playoffs. This is a must win for the Niners as well as it is for the Broncos.
Yeah,
The Seahawks would have to do a lot and get some help. The Niners, they need this.
Yeah, I would tend to agree that the Niners, again, they're getting all their pieces back. We had that we didn't talk about this, Casino. I talked about it on Sunday's show, but I didn't talk about it with you on Tuesday. Did you see the Deebo Samuel swinging at the kicker, but he ends up hitting the long snapper? What is your thoughts on that whole situation?
Oh man, I just stop punching people, man. Just don't do it.
Especially with
Like,
the helmet on. Why do people swing at people wearing
I don't know, dude.
helmets?
All it does is hurt your team. And I saw a clip of Tomlin. Um, One of his players was getting in an argument with another player, apparently, and like he came off the field, and Tomlin is just ripping into him. And he's like, why, or whatever. And the guy was like, well, he did this to me. And Tomlin was like, I don't care. Like, this is about the team. This isn't about you. We're in the 2 minute drill. We're in hurry up offense. You don't do that. You don't go in there and you just start yapping like, don't cost your team. This is more important. Like, this is a team sport. This is arguably the most important, or this is the most the biggest team sport out there, because you can have single players all over in all the other sports and still be mediocre.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a good soccer player, a good hockey player, a good NBA player, like, you can be middle of the pack with just one or two guys. But in football, that doesn't work out that way. Like, even the Chiefs, you have Patrick Mahomes. He's not playing great, but he's got that great defense, and that's a whole defense. Like, you have to have more than one player. So I don't like that. I didn't like that. I think about the team. Like, and that's
Yeah.
why I don't like, and I lose respect for those kind of players in the long run when you do stuff like that, because all you're doing is hurting your team, and you're just going to create tension in your locker room, which will, inevitably hurt you even more.
Also, Debo Samuel's always been a dickhead because he's one of
Always.
like the diva wide receivers that for some reason wide receivers of everybody on the team are always just the ones that are divas, which there has to be a study or some reason why that always happens. But yeah, as far as this game goes,
'Cause they think that they're the ones that make the points. They're the ones that get the big yardage. Look at me. Look at me. I'm the wide receiver. I make the fantastic plays. Like, go
yeah.
shove it up your asshole.
But yeah, I think for the same reasons you said, I just think that the 49ers are more talented. However, I could see this being a closer game than anticipated just because the Seahawks are coming off a bye. So
And
they've
they always
had
play the
longer to
Niners
prep.
well. So
Yeah, but we're both going Niners on that one. Next up, uh, a marquee matchup again in terms of just playoff standings. Much like the Broncos, the Chargers are just trying to keep pace with everybody. Bengals are trying to just stay afloat. They don't even have a raft. They're basically dog paddling to try to find something that'll lift them into the playoffs casino. But we have the 4-6 Cincinnati Bengals at 6-3 Chargers. Who you got?
no matter how much I want the Bengals to go and Joe Burrow to go, this is gonna be another one of those games where he plays outstanding and they lose. It's just, that's how I see it going. The Chargers, they've got a full head of steam. They're being overlooked, and I feel like they have started to click. And the Bengals, it's just constant misfire. Like, it's just shooting blanks, you know, just basically just doing that. Um, Joe Burrow is doing everything he can to ignite this team, and it's just not happening.
Yeah. You look at their offense again. I
I th-
like
I
everything on.
I think the way they lost last week, you saw, like, he wasn't even arguing with the refs, about the clear face masks, and him getting hit in the head. That whole drive, he didn't complain about it once. You saw the defeat in him. He just gave up. He was
Yeah.
like, "This is dumb."
Yeah. And again, Bengals middle of the pack in terms of rushing defense, bottom of the league in terms of passing defense. So you can pass on them, you can run on them, you can run up the score on them, which is what we've seen the past couple of weeks like you were talking about. And Burrow basically just has to play Superman for them not even to win, for them just to have a chance. For them just to have a chance. He is throwing 69 nice percent completion percentage, 2,700 yards, 24 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. What more does the guy have to do? We don't know because we haven't seen it, because even when he puts up these numbers, they lose. And much like you said, the Chargers have the fourth ranked defense in the league. I think they're in contention for having the best defense in the league. I'm sure Burrow's going to pick them apart, score 28 to 30 points, and then they're going to lose by 2. So that's my prediction. I think the Chargers win this game. I think this will be a shootout. I think this might be one of the first games of the season where we get to see Herbert kind of unleashed, and they're not playing hardball ball. They're playing like current day NFL ball, which is throwing the rock all over the place. So yeah, we're picking both Chargers. So far, Casino, we're dead even with terms of picks, and we have picked all these games correctly. Our last marquee matchup, though, Bills at Chiefs, or Chiefs at Bills, I should say. You're taking the Bills, are you not?
I'm taking the Bills.
How do you think this game plays out?
How I think this game plays out is Patrick Mahomes can get really frustrated. He's going to throw a couple picks, and I think Josh Allen just rams it down their throat with the running game. That's what I see it.
All right. Basic and to the point. This is the only game we differ on. I
Well,
don't think
Bills are favored.
I know. They're always favored, and then they lose, and then everybody goes, we're never favoring the Bills against the Chiefs.
Do you
again.
really? And so you really think the Chiefs are going to pull this out?
Yeah, I think it'll be the same game we've always see these teams play, which it'll be 24 to 21. Chiefs win on a last-second field goal. I'm calling it 24-21. There'll be
I'll
some.
give you an extra 3 points if it's that exact scenario.
Okay, I'm writing it down. 24-21. Chiefs win on a last-second field goal. That's my prediction.
All right. If anything besides the Bills winning happens, I don't get a point. But if the Bills win, I should get an extra point.
Okay. If the Bills win, you'll get 2 points. If the Chiefs win on a last-second field goal,
you get 4.
Or actually, how about just in a last-second field goal, or if the score is 24-21? Because if they kick a field goal,
that sounds good. And then you get 4 points.
Okay, deal. So our now let's go over to our mid matchups, Casino. That's all I had for marquee. But I'll tell you what,
we're gonna have to roll through these ones.
Well, there's not many games left. A lot of good marquee matchups this week. I was impressed. So our mid matchup, I have Packers at Bears. The Packers 6-3, Bears 4-5.
I'm going Packers because of the stat you sent to me.
Yeah, can you read that stat out, please?
Yeah, let me find it. Keep going.
So the Packers 6-3 traveling to Soldier Field against the 4-5 Chicago Bears.
Here it is. Caleb Williams has the worst completion on throws of 15 plus yards by any quarterback in any season over the last 15 years. He ranks 468 out of 468.
So also, I don't know if you've seen the drama surrounding the Bears this season, this week, I should say, where all the players are coming out and being like, why did you fire our offensive coordinator? Like, we liked him. And then
I heard the opposite. I heard where they were all going in there saying, hey, we want him out or Caleb benched.
No. So then there's a rumor that players on the team were going to coaching staff asking for Caleb Williams to be benched and Tyler, I believe it's to be the quarterback. He was a quarterback, I believe, in the XFL or USFL, one of those two. So always good when your team is on the verge or still technically in playoff contention, but yet your team is trying to throw a mutiny against your number 1 overall quarterback pick again. And then Caleb Williams not doing himself any favors, where constantly holding on to the ball the longest of any other quarterback in the league, takes unnecessary sacks, and then kind of feels like he blames the offensive line for it, or at least that's the narrative going. So again, we already gloated on Tuesday about being right about the Bears, but we're both picking the Packers. Packers should win this game. Will it be a blowout, or will all the noise just be fuel to the fire to push the Bears to 500-5-5? I doubt it, but we'll see. Next up, I have Raiders at Dolphins as the next mid matchup. Mostly mid matchup just because I think the Dolphins
have a chance. They need to go on a run.
Yeah, and they're fun to watch. They have to we'll see if they can make a run. And again, I didn't want to put this
not to a run.
Or if he does slide 10 yards before he usually does.
And feet first. Stop diving with fucking helmet first, you idiot.
But yeah, so I put this as mid matchup because I want to see the Dolphins again with Tua, and if they can get the ball rolling. And yeah, that's basically the definition of mid matchups where you're interested in half the teams playing. So on this, you obviously picked the Packers. We both picked the Packers. Are we both picking the Dolphins on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Next up, your team. I actually put in a mid matchup because I think Drake May is fun to watch. I
He's
think
really fun to watch.
I think the Rams and Stafford are fun to watch. So this is 4-5 Rams at 3-7 Patriots. I think this should legitimately be a pretty good game. Super Bowl matchup from the last time the Patriots won a Super Bowl,
That was
right?
great.
So two very different teams now. But who you got in this one, Casino? Stafford or your boy Drake May?
Oh man, let's see here. What's the line on this? Because I just might do this for funsies. My Patriots, Rams by 5. This is my upset of the week. Go Patriots.
Oh, upset of the week. Casino is picking Patriots. I'm still picking Rams. I just think I trust Stafford. I like May, but I trust Stafford more. He's getting Nakua. He got Nakua back, Cup back. Robinson also looks
Oh no,
really
I know I'm
good.
gonna get this wrong, but I'm going for it. I mean, you talked up Drake May. It's gonna happen.
That's true. I mean, there is some plays he makes where you're like, huh, all right. All right. But now, Casino, that's all I had for mid matchups, just those three. The rest are miserable matchups. So we can literally just go through these really quickly, just make a case for the team you're picking. Next up is Colts at the 4-6 Colts with Anthony Richardson starting. So now Flacco's been benched. Richardson's back in. Richardson against the 3-7 New York Jets. Who you got?
Uh, I'm gonna go Colts because I love seeing the Jets lose.
Uh,
And the Jets are favored by 4, but I mean the Colts have played some really close games. The Jets just put up some stinkers that I think the Colts are going to pull this on out.
yeah, I think Anthony Richardson, honestly, being back in is why I'm picking the Jets. So I think it's Jets. I also think they need some retribution for that performance last week against the Cardinals, which was just, dare I say, abysmal. So I am picking the Jets. Casino's picking the Colts. So shockingly, we had all similar until we got to the last couple games. So I'm going Jets over Colts, but not by much. I don't think this will be a slam dunk or anything like that. I think this will be a close game. Colts are shockingly decent, even though when you watch them, you're like, how? But yeah. Next up, we go Jaguars at Lions. I mean, we've seen the Jags have a couple good weeks. They're like feisty, but I think this will be the week where they just get the doors blown off them. This is my blowout of the week. I think the Lions, especially coming off last week's barn burner, I think they reassert themselves.
Lions are going to destroy.
Is this your blowout of the week? Because it's mine as
Oh,
well.
dude, yeah, they're favored by 14, dude.
Jesus.
It's
Yeah.
100%. And you know what's great though is finally Vegas has given them a big spread because Vegas has not known what to do with the Lions, like at all.
Yeah. And Jaguars coming into this game 32nd ranked defense. So this is the perfect bounce back game after you have a 5 interception game to just go have a 5 touchdown game and light up the Jaguars.
Oh yeah, I'm
Last
I have a feeling that he's going to get benched on this game because he's going to get pulled.
because they're
Yeah, he's going to
annihilating
get
them so
pulled, not
much.
benched.
Next up, maybe the worst game of the week, which is my pick for worst game of the week. Browns at Saints. Uh I mean, you have Jameis win. You have 2-7 Cleveland at 3-7 New Orleans. Unless you're a fan of these two teams, and even if you are a fan of these two teams, who the hell is watching this game over
You want to coin flip
Ravens
this?
Steelers? Uh, yeah,
I mean, because
Or
if you're looking at it, like they're dead center. So what are we doing here?
I'll take Saints.
Okay, Browns.
All right, there you go. So I'm picking Saints. Casino picks Browns, and then our last two Casino.
The rest of the Chick-fil-A in there for you.
Our other contender for blowout of the week, or at least I hope it's blowout of the week, so the Vikings can reassert themselves. 7-2 Vikings at 2-7 Titans. Titans still have the number one total defense in the league, which I don't understand at all. But yeah, Vikings at Titans. Who you got, Casino?
I'm gonna go Vikings. They need a true bounce back win from being they need a resurgence in their dominance. Like all these games, the last 3 games of theirs have been like, meh, ever since they played the Lions. So they need to continue. They need to fix what's broken.
And also, nothing that makes a defense look better than playing Will Levis. So I'm expecting a lot of sacks, a lot of interceptions. I think, again, this is contender for blowout of the week, but both Casino and I picked the Lions over Jags. So there we go. But I would say Jags and Titans kind of feisty, even though they're bad teams. And then just abysmal Monday Night Football game. We have the Dallas Cowboys at home against the Houston Texans. I mean, this might be a Monday night game I don't even watch and maybe just see the highlights after. But who you got in this one, Casino?
Okay, let's say Texans.
Texans.
Casino and his daughter have the Texans. I also have the Texans. I do think this is
Houston by 7.5 on the odds.
That seems about right because again, Texans, it's not like they're blowing out anybody.
No, and with Dak out and Cooper Rush in, I have no faith with him. I mean, last season or whatever it was when he had a few good games, everybody was like, "Oh, Cooper Rush, look at this guy." No.
And guess who is only 2 losses in the league are against? My Philadelphia Eagles both times. Yeah, both times. So if something interesting happens in this game, but I doubt it. I think it'll be a bad game, but I think it'll be a Texans easy win. So there you have it. Our marquee, mid, and miserable matchups for the week. Comment down below if you think some games are mid when they should be marquee or other way around. Let us know.
You don't need a comment about things being shorter. Sorry, that's a direct shot to one of our friends.
Yeah. One of our friends who both tried to date us in high school, but he was a skater boy. We said, see you later, boy. And that's why he's bitter. But do you have time for Casino's Corner? Or
no, and I got nothing for it.
All right. We'll save Casino's Corner till Tuesday's episode. Join us on Sunday for the solo show. Also, the Sunday solo show this past week are now our 3rd most popular YouTube video. So thanks everybody watching that.
People like you. And our most popular one was when you did a solo show without me.
That's true.
People like you more. It's okay. I've accepted it. My wife's right here. She even likes you more. She's even said it. So.
Yeah. Well, that's I mean, obviously. But this has been the Only Sports Podcast. This is the end of the episode. I'm Will. That's Casino. Go follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. See all our stuff on there. Our clips are on all those as well as YouTube. Get us wherever you get your podcasts. Yeah, this has been the Only Sports Podcast. I'm Will. That's Casino. Adios.
Bye.